So, a young fur has made a discovery online. A community that shares an interest in giving animals human characteristics. They become involved, and over time they make some really close friends. The people they meet and the community as a whole becomes a big part of their life. As they grow older, they run into obstacles growing up, or just have questions about the fandom itself. Curious, a search online leads to a furry advice column, possibly the only one of its kind, Askpapabear.com. This website is run by a greymuzzle by the name of Grubbs Grizzly, who spends some of his spare time sharing his wisdom with other members of the community that write to him. Today, the big bear gets his dues. So who exactly is Grubbs Grizzly? Grubbs' real name is Kevin Heil, and he's been in the fandom for quite a long time. Grubbs is an 8-foot-tall grizzly bear in a gray muzzle, meaning he is older than most other furries in the fandom. Primarily, he is an author who has written and published several books throughout his life. Of those still available, his legacy is filled with informational and non-fiction material. A few examples: in 2004, he released a point-counterpoint book about the different animal rights, and a fictional fantasy book called The Steel of Venadia. In 2008, he released a story collecting eyewitness accounts of paranormal ghost ship encounters. In 2009, he released the Handy Weather Answer book, contributing to a larger series that many authors have worked on. In his earlier days of the fandom, he founded a lot of smaller online groups. Before Yahoo Groups shut down last year, it used to be a place where some furries connected in smaller groups, akin to the modern Facebook fandom. Grubbs founded a few of these back in the day, and in the last decade founded a few Facebook groups as well. These include a Grey Muzzles group, a Bear Furries group, and a Furry Outcast group for those who feel disconnected or ostracized from the community. Grubbs' largest contribution to date is his furry advice column. Askpapabear.com takes its inspiration from a 1956 advice column called Dear Abby. Originally founded by Pauline Phillips, it's nowadays continued by her daughter Gianna. The reason he began the furry-specific column was because he believes the fandom has a unique way of putting a spin on normal life problems. With how furries are often treated by their peers, he wanted to create a place where he could offer advice fueled by his own experiences. Ask Papa Bear was originally started in January 2012 as part of the now defunct Furry News Network. A short 4 months later, it moved away to its own website and became independent. During the same time frame, FNN was on its way out. After its first and very successful year, activity died down and it bit the dust a few years later. Ask Papa Bear has covered a staggering amount of topics over its life, over 1,100 postings on his website, almost all of which are advice entries. His categories range from family and friend issues, identity and social, and even fandom-specific issues. Some are lighter topics than others, but he tries to offer help to pretty much anyone that emails him. He's even helped me a few times in the past, like when I was nervous about convincing my father to take me to my first furry convention. His website has also become a sort of hub for his other projects that he's been working on for the fandom. One of the most anticipated is bringing his skills as an author to the furry fandom. In 2019, Grubbz Grizzly decided to create a new annual award system called the Good Furry Award. Some of you might be familiar with the Ursa Major Awards, which is an award for high-achieving furry creators. The Good Furry Award is intended to reward members of the fandom that have helped inspire positivity and represent the spirit of the furry fandom. Members of the community can nominate individuals and then vote up the top nominations. The first winner was Tony Barrett, most commonly known as Dog Bomb. For those unaware, Dog Bomb was a well-known member of the community who was diagnosed with ALS in 2018, before passing away a year later in April 2019. His award winnings were donated to help fund ALS research, and the trophy was donated to his brother. The trophy in question is a crystal trophy, and the award money totals $500. Each year, 3 honorable mentions are also picked and get trophies of their own. In the years since, Ash Coyote won in 2020, and Cassie Civet in 2021. Nominations aren't quite open for 2022 yet, but they usually open up near the start of the year. Hopefully coming soon will be Grubbs' other major contribution to the fandom. Professional furry literature is a microcosm in the modern fandom. At the start of August, I was lucky enough to meet Greg Luderman at Megaplex and bought a few of his books. I've currently made it through one of them and thoroughly enjoyed it. Grubbs has mostly focused on nonfiction and informational pieces though. This tradition was carried into his latest effort, the Furry Book. The Furry Book was originally conceptualized in 2014 under the name of Furries Explained. The title was later changed in the words of Grubbs to be less apologetic. The Furry Book is intended to be a guide to the fandom and help explain many of its sub-communities and culture. An outline of it is available online right now for those interested in seeing what it will have to offer. Originally, the book was slated to release in 2017, but that was before tragedy struck. Grubbs' mate passed away shortly after, and he took it upon himself to finish his mate's current project before continuing. The handy California Answer book was released toward the end of 2016, and that chapter was put to rest. In the years since, broadening ambitions and a better understanding of the project has kept the book in production. In 2018, he announced that he had over 50,000 words under his belt and was still a considerable way to go. A release date has not yet been announced, but assuming progress hasn't stagnated, I would say expect it at the most within the next few years. I've been following its progress ever since I found out about it 5 years ago, and I'm hoping to see it through. You can bet I'll be picking up a copy when it's done, and reading it cover to cover. A long time ago, I made a video about some of the people I most looked up to in the fandom. I was very young, impressionable, a little naive, but they were people I genuinely looked up to in the community. At the top of my list was Grubbs Grizzly. I still genuinely respect the time and passion he pours into helping others in the community, and trying to keep the fandom a positive and welcoming place. The Good Furry Award is an extension of that, and the book is an example of helping the public better understand the fandom. Not to inflate the guy's ego too much, but he's meant a lot to me, and growing up, my respect for him hasn't wavered. I've written 3 letters to him in the past, 2 of which have been published. The first one was about my father coming with me to a small furry convention, since I was 16, and literally a month into the fandom. Brand new to the fandom, I had an opportunity, and I took it. I didn't ever make it to my second con until just a few weeks ago. One of the others was about a much more personal topic, one that was kept off the site, but helped me with a childhood memory that had haunted me for a long time. Grubbs even asked me out of that email if he could quote my talk about how the furry fandom changed my life in the Furry Book. I don't know if that's still going to happen given how long it's been, and how many revisions the book has probably gone through, but it'll be interesting if I find myself in there. The bottom line is, it might seem naive to think the fandom can be as positive and inclusive as we portray it sometimes, but I've still always believed it a little bit. At the risk of putting him high on a pedestal he doesn't want, I think Grubbs is a good example of what the fandom can be. Grubbs Grizzly has done a lot for the fandom, and the upcoming Furry Book will hopefully be one of his biggest contributions yet. Researching this fur has meant a lot to me, since in my early days it was, kind of a big inspiration. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you want to support me, you know where to find that information. It is likely my next history video will be the last for 2021, although I might be able to squeeze one more in after that, just because of the Christmas animation, if anybody here is familiar with that. It's a yearly tradition I do over on my other channel, and it takes months to put together, and that's kind of where all my attention gets diverted to, kind of around the September-October time frame. So, until next time when I talk about the species of protogens and primogens, a highly requested topic, stay tuned.